Welcome back to the Railway Series Look Back. Am I funny now? Do I get funny points? Anyways, this is episode 2 of the Railway Series Look Back. Back in January, that was some time ago, we took a look at the first book in the 3 Railway Engines, and today we are going to complete the book and look at the other, I think, 2 stories in the book. And oh boy, what do we know? We got the dark, ghoulish story of the sad story of Henry. Let's take a look, and these classic lines right here. Once an engine attached to a train was afraid of a few drops of rain. Okay, so we got Henry here. Clearly just very paranoid of this rain, wanting to look very, very stylish. So yeah, Henry throws a tantrum about how the rain will spoil his lovely green paints. Which, you know, yeah, Henry definitely starts off as being just kind of one of the big, mean engines, but, you know, later on he definitely matures a bit. Or maybe that's the TV series. Please let me know. Please fact check me in any way you want to, because I'm not that knowledgeable on the Railway series, believe it or not. I'm gonna need some assistance. So yeah, Henry throws a tantrum, basically. And the passengers gotta pull him out, except for Sir Tom Hat, because his doctors have forbidden him to push. Great excuse right there, sir. Now, this book refers to him as the fact director, as opposed to the fact controller, or Sir Tom Hat, which, of course, Sir Tom Hat is an American term, I guess. Well, yeah, realistically speaking, it makes sense, considering, you know, the obesity rates in America. I guess fat control would be more offensive over here. I don't know. I'm assuming that's what their mindset was. It's no use because Henry stays in the tunnel. Then here we got, well, I guess, you know, I should probably call him the fat director, even though my American self, I'm a lot more familiar with Sir Tom Hat. Gotta keep it consistent with what the Reverend W. Audrey intended. So yeah, nothing works and Henry stays in the tunnel. A whole bunch of people argue with Henry. And James arrived. Well, I don't know. This could be another character. I really don't know. But I guess Henry must be super buff or something, because nothing works and Henry stays in the tunnel. And since nothing works, they trap Henry in the tunnel, where he stays forever and starves to death. You know, because that's what happens. You know, top 10 scary Thomas and Friends facts, all that. But I think he deserved it, don't you? Okay, narrator, I guess. I don't know what I want to call it. Yes, sir, I don't know if he deserved it, Reverend W. Audrey. I think maybe perhaps he was just in a mood, and maybe just tell him to not do it again, give him a punishment, that would work, you know? Perhaps forcing him to die in a tunnel is just not the way to go, you know? And that concludes the sad story of Henry. Henry never appears again. Okay, yeah, I'm done with that joke. Obviously, you know, if you're in the Thomas fandom, you know that Henry never actually stays in the tunnel. He doesn't die in there. He gets let out in the next story. Edward, Gordon, and Henry is that next story. Okay. Edward and Gordon often went through the tunnel where Henry was shut up. Edward would say peep peep, hello, and Gordon would say poop poop poop. Yeah, very, very funny. Serves you right. So yeah, Henry has no steam to answer. He is just completely just there with no ability to do nothing. And now we're talking about Gordon and how he's a pretty cool engine, you know, pretty strong. But it looks like Gordon has had a bit of a drop-off in quality, and he starts to go slower due to a crack. Turns out that Gordon has burst his safety valve, and Henry, I guess, still has the ability to talk and laughs at Gordon. And I must say, Henry's like the last engine to be really able to laugh at anyone, considering what Henry just did, but okay. Everyone hops out to see Gordon completely and utterly failing. Edward is suggested to pull the train. Gordon, due to hating Edward for some reason, says that Edward can't pull the train. However, Edward puffs and puffs, and yeah, he can't move the heavy coaches. Gordon's right, plot twist. Gordon suggests to the fat director to let Henry pull the coaches, which the fat director agrees on for some reason, despite what he just did to Henry. I really don't know, this world's crazy. And so the fat director asks Henry to do just that, which Henry agrees, and Henry is let out of the tunnel. Edward and Henry pull the coaches together, which is impressive. In fact, the ride is such a success that the fact director gives Henry a new coat of paint. Henry is given a new coat of paint, being blue, just like Edward, and Henry isn't really mindful of the rain now, which is good. And that is Edward, Gordon, and Henry, and the 3 Railway Engines. Here we got all the titles in the series, well, all the Reverend W. Awdry books, which reminds me how difficult the series is going to get later on after we're done with the Reverend W. Awdry books, because the Christopher Awdry books are not easy to find, and not easy for anyone's bank account either, because if you find them, it's probably not going to be cheap at all. But yeah, that is the 3 Railway Engines. So yeah, that is the 3 Railway Engines. Okay, and now it's time for the review portion of this video, where I'm going to review the entirety of this book, all 3 stories. So overall, I can definitely say that this is a solid introduction to the world of the island of Sodor, with, you know, a few characters, which is good. You don't want to give too much in the first book here. It does focus very heavily on Henry, but you know, I think we get a good amount of each of these 3 engines here. And overall, I give this book an 8 out of 10, and I am looking forward to seeing how this series progresses over time. And anyways, that's all for this video and episode of the Railway series Lookback, and I will see you soon.